Hello, chat, and welcome to This Week is Stupid for the 14th of July, 2024. Sorry for the last 2 weeks of not hosting the event, but we're here now. How's it going, Ors?
All is good here, V. How about yourself?
It's great, but I don't think we can call it This Week is Stupid because we're going to just call it Yesterday's Stupid, right? I mean,
Holy shit, yesterday was quite a day.
quite a day, yeah. Like I was about to go to bed, and then it's like shots fired at Trump's rally, and I'm like, what the fuck, and then you look at it, and I'm like, oh, is he all right? Because like I didn't know what was going on. And I'm reading the media, and the media is like CNN. Noise is heard at Trump's rally, and he's evacuated. And
Yeah.
like, what that doesn't do it justice, like that doesn't really explain.
Yeah, well, on the main feed, that first directional mic, right? It doesn't capture the clap really well from the shot fire, so it only sounded like little plastic snaps. So from the main feed, at least when it was first airing, it sounded like just noise, like just little background shit. So it was really just about Trump's reaction until we got the rest of the feed from the other camera angles and all that shit, and then you could really see what was going on.
Yeah, but it's very unlikely that they didn't know what's happening, right? Like the media was just unaware. I mean, they had reporters on the ground. They had their own staff there, so it's not like they relied.
I'm echoing again, my friend.
Yeah, it's not.
You got me on echo.
I think I fixed it though.
Did you? Perfect.
Yeah, I moved the slider, so yeah. But yeah, it's not like they were live streaming, It's not like they're Hassan Piker. Did you see Hassan Piker, by the way?
Hassan, of course.
Yeah, he was upset that the shooter missed. And
what a
yeah, I know, right? Yeah. I know.
How cavalier a thing to say with someone else's life. Come on, man.
Well, like the thing that bothers me is that if this was like the early 2000 internet, like that was like the edginess, right? Like you had to show you're edgy in order to be on the internet and be cool, right? But
high school pizza cutter.
Yeah,
all edge, no point.
Yeah, but like at one point, like they want to be viewed as moral authoritarians, like people like Hassan Piker, right? Like the morality stems from them, and it's all about decorum and shit until it's like someone that they don't like. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, man. And there were a lot of people like that. Destiny was very, very edgy on Twitter. Basically saying that that there was a person that died, as like the shooter ended up hitting someone else from the crowd.
I mean, yeah. I mean, look how many people there were at the rally, of course. There's going to be someone in the line of fire somewhere.
Yeah, and Destiny was basically like, oh, so now that's +1 vote for Joe Biden.
What? Right? Oh, come on, man.
And I'm like, Destiny, like, I can go like, well, yeah, but the shooter died as well, so if it evens up, I can joke, right? Like, that's fine. But like, when you're the team of decency and decorum, it looks a little bit off,
Yeah.
Xenothium for $10. Good evening, V. Thank you as always for the great content and being bulwark against the useful idiots. SRC Maker, what's the feel like outside the States? What are people saying in Romania? They're shocked. Here in Eastern Europe, we look at the United States as the bastion of freedom and democracy, and we just don't believe that this can happen.
I'm still waiting to see. I mean, no one's really talking about it around here just yet. It's still just like the shock and awe moment.
Yeah.
But give it until this evening, and we're gonna actually see what the dialogue's gonna start bubbling up. But it's still shock and awe. First 12 hours, you're never really gonna get a good feel as to what people are gonna settle on.
Yeah, it's probably the PR teams are also like focusing on how to spin it and
spin.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
The thing is though, like despite the fact that America had very violent politics in the past, like you guys did have presidential assassinations. And like Lincoln, since Lincoln, right? Like he's the first one that got assassinated. Is there one beforehand? I don't think so.
I know. Well, I mean, there's a couple that got shot at, but outside of Lincoln being the most memorable one.
Well, no, JFK is probably the most memorable.
Yeah, of course, JFK.
Yeah.
But like before like the time of film and shit, I don't know. I don't think there were any successfuls. Were
no,
there?
But like in American politics, like this has happened before, right? Like it's not completely new. But like from the Eastern European perspective, it does seem incredibly shocking. Like they would expect
Yeah.
something like this to happen in Russia, although I don't think it actually does. Like like at least Putin makes it look like accidents. No, seriously, like think about it, right?
Yeah.
What was his name? Prigozhin, right?
Defenestration events. Yes.
Yeah, like Prigozhin. He was high on cocaine and he was playing with a grenade in the airplane. Like that is the official. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Like that. That's literally the official Russian state spokesperson on what
Yep.
happened. It's like, well, he was probably high on cocaine and he had the grenade and he was playing with it in the plane. So like they make it look like somewhat of an accident. But like this, yeah. Now here's the interesting part, right? Because there's two possibilities. Like this is what people are saying on the internet, the school of thought of Twitter. The first possibility is the deep state, right? So like the deep state is that, yeah.
Oh, so we're starting to look at the Secret Service. Okay, all right.
Yeah. But the second one, which is more interesting, is that this is a lone wolf, right? Both are possible, but like, imagine if it's a lone wolf and you're on the Democratic campaign for Biden, and it already was a bad week, right? Like you had the debate, the big boy press conference didn't go as planned. He said that Zelensky is Putin, and he said that the vice president is Trump.
Yeah, that was one long day of bad fucking gaffes on his part.
Yeah, like the gaps keep rolling, right? So you're part of the PR team. You're paid to make the man look reasonable.
Yeah.
It's not going well, and now you look at the news and you see this, right? And you see like the best photo op that money cannot even buy, with the counter candidate. What do you do then? Like what goes through your mind? What are you thinking?
Well, I mean, I think the last thing that went through his mind was the other sniper's bullet.
Who, like Biden? No, the PR team of Biden.
Well, I mean, no, they shot the guy at the end.
Oh yeah, like that.
But I don't know, man. It's like there's a whole lot of things. Like if you really want to get like all conspiracy theory about it, right? Like there's a whole lot of shit that went crazy enough that you could spin 3 or 4 stories out of this easy.
I mean, when people don't have any evidence, right? Like when there's no information to go on, people just speculate. So the thing that I believe is the most possible is the stochastic terrorism thing. Like I read about it and it's interesting. So stochastic terrorism is when you create a culture of demonization and hatred towards a person. Like statistically speaking, if you have enough people, at one point someone will do something, right? Like you can't predict which individual will do it, but if you like constantly just demonize groups of people, eventually it will happen. So like, for instance, during the pandemic with the mask thing, right? Like, there were violences at universities where someone would punch another person for not wearing a mask. Like that would not happen if it was for the media, like, constantly drumming it up. So...
Well, I mean, you even go back a little bit further. You go to the Islamophobia stage post 9/11, right?
Yeah.
You just look on the other side, too. Look at BLM during the whole, the whole, like... I guess you could say blue line protests. I'm not really sure what the whole media word for that chain of events was, but all of that shit it's all based with the same rhetoric that feeds into stochastic terrorism.
Yeah. Like if you talk and demonize a thing for long enough, eventually someone will do something, right? So like
if you put enough oil and you put enough heat, a popcorn kernel, even if it's among a bunch of really old ones, it will pop eventually. You're gonna trigger an event.
Yeah, so this is like what I'm leaning towards so far. Like unless I see like more information coming out, that there was like another interesting conspiracy that this was orchestrated, right? And to be honest, like I can't really blame people for thinking that because like the photo op looks so fucking good. Like you for Trump, I mean, like for his ratings. Like there's no way you can fake that, right? So I was thinking like, all right, like maybe someone threw some firecrackers in the crowd and he had like a little bag of blood and he put it on his neck, like wrestlers do, and then he drops down and gets back up and right, like that could have been possible, but then you find out that there's 2 fatalities, and at that point, like no, like that cannot happen.
I'm gonna be curious to see what kind of damage was done. Like if he did really take a bullet to the side of the head, like any caliber that's gonna be stable enough to go at that distance, right? Because all bullets that are that are shot will spall over time in distance, right?
Mhm.
So if he took a bullet, there's going to be damage.
I mean, in the photo it looks pretty bad, but like there's a doctor. I don't know if you saw the video. There's this
Hmm.
doctor that gave first aid to a person that was in the crowd that got hit,
Yeah.
and apparently he describes how there was like brain matter and everything over there. So,
Holy
yeah,
shit.
I don't think that he was faking it.
No, 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 no. I'm saying I'm curious to see what actually happened, like hit wise.
Oh,
How much
if
did Trump take?
it's like
Because like,
if there's a
fuck, man, he
chunk
took
of
a bullet. The guy,
yeah
the guy took a bullet for fuck's
yeah
sakes, man. Like,
I would expect like a chunk of his ear might be missing. Like
yeah, because like once like the thing that I'm worried about is once the adrenaline wears off, because those first about 45 seconds of adrenaline worth, right, and he's going to be walking around okay, and then he's going to go into shock, likely,
yeah, a lot of people
right?
forget
So
that he's a person. Like imagine the conversation that he had with his family. Like
yeah,
I mean, it's not just that he almost died, but like he still has to campaign. He still has to go out. He still has. I mean, I get like he
like
put a brave face and did the fist pump thing.
yeah, great photo op, but like the man is still human. Like
Yeah, yeah. Like
Jesus,
I mean, imagine going to bed at night and realizing, dude, if I didn't turn my head at that exact moment, if I moved a little step to the left, like that is just I don't know how
yeah.
you can cope with that.
Assuming that the first, because like I think it was a router's picture caught the actual bullet as it was going by.
Yeah,
One of the actual like lens shots caught the bullet, and then if you take a look at there's a new angle that came out about like 3 hours ago, where you can see from the back end to our relative left, and if he wouldn't have turned his head, that second shot would have nailed him.
yeah.
Like
Uh,
holy shit, man.
yeah. Like he was incredibly close. Now the interesting thing is the Secret Service, right? So there's like two things. Like number one, the photo op looks so good that people were
Hmm.
thinking that they're faking it, and number two, the Secret Service was so incompetent that people think that they were in on it. Like there's two conspiracies right now. Um,
Well, I found that the like knowing what we see now in the video, I found that the response time was very, very slow.
yeah, like
First off, the sniper, we know that they had acquisition on target. He didn't take the target out. The guy had a gun, right? Why even wait? And second, once that there was a guy with a gun even identified anywhere close within the perimeter, why didn't the Secret Service get him the hell out of there like they did Clinton a while, like when she was doing her campaign shit? They just got a whiff of something was wrong and they rushed her off the stage. But like
yeah, like the bizarre thing
here,
is
they just let it what? I don't know. That too, I gotta say, from an operational standpoint, that shit kind of stinks.
yeah, like I don't know what the guy actually saw. Like we can just see a picture of him looking in that direction, but like if it's so far away, like we don't really know where the scope was
No, man, those
positioned.
guys got optics way better than that guy could have hoped to have got. This the goddamn Secret Service,
Okay,
man.
like
You're
I'm
telling me
trying.
that they don't got a decent scope on their primary like
Yeah,
marksman?
I
Jeez.
mean, no, I'm trying to say like maybe they were looking at a different rooftop. Maybe they couldn't see exactly what the guy had in his hand. You know, because you don't want to shoot at the guy
True.
that doesn't have a weapon, right? Like that's the last thing you want to do. Like let's say the guy had like some
All right,
like
yeah, okay, all right.
like let's say the
Good
guy
devil's advocate.
yeah, like let's say he had some equipment to fix something like an antenna or something, you know, to fix on the rooftop, and you end up shooting them. Like
Yeah.
imagine how that would look on Trump, right? Like you have your guy on the stage giving a rally, and this is like outside the rally. I understand. Like this rooftop was outside of the zone of the rally, and you have
Yeah,
like
but there's supposed to be a security perimeter, typically something like I think it's like 2 miles.
hmm,
But yeah, they're supposed to have a typical like zone of control.
right.
So this is completely on them.
Cause like when I looked at the video, what I saw is the guy is looking through the scope, and then he pulls his head back in shock, and he looks again, and that's when he fires. So like I think he noticed it in that moment. If you saw the video, right? Like
Yeah, I saw it.
yeah, he's like zooming in, he's looking, and then he's pulling his head back in shock, like he can't believe what he's seeing, and then he goes back into the scope and starts firing at the target.
Yeah,
Like that was the
it's
move
it's
that
fucking It's wild.
Yeah.
Like there's like I said, with everything that happened, it's easy to spin any number of stories because so many weird things happen and little coincidences and shit that obviously got overlooked because this guy was somehow able to get on top of a roof.
Well,
Like
actually, I can
you tell,
explain that. Like, I can explain why that is. Because a lot of people are like, oh my god, like, how did he do it? Like, real
yeah,
life is not like a villain that needs a really good plan. All you have to do in real life is what you do in Hitman with Agent 47. As long as you're acting as if you belong there, people genuinely think you do. So, like, if you're walking with a purpose, and you're just, like, pretending that
okay,
you belong there, a lot of people will just not bat an eye, That,
all
uh,
right. Well, here on the other hand, right? Operating security for anyone who has Secret Service protection, who's giving a public speech, right? The expectation is that all of those roofs would be secure.
yeah.
No one would be able to go on those roofs. It doesn't matter if they're wearing a jacket or not. If they were following classic Secret Service operating security, no one would be able to go on any of the roofs regardless of purpose. They would be told to wait until Trump would be finished his public speech.
That's
So
fair.
the fact that someone was able to get on the roof and they didn't have a helicopter to also take a look during a public speech in a major area, that is really fucking weird.
They don't need a helicopter, they need a drone. But,
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, I should say an aerial view or a
Yeah.
bird's eye, right?
The thing, though, is that from my understanding, the Secret Service was complaining that they're understaffed and that they need more resources, and this was denied. So,
Well, I mean that's classic. That's always true. Yeah.
yeah. So it may actually be the case that they've been campaigning for so long, and now this was like the last rally, and they may have thought it's like because like when you do something many times, even if you're trained, you eventually go into this routine where you're kind of sleeping. You're not paying as much as attention as you should.
Yeah.
And if they're understaffed as well, I mean, I think that's more likely than that they were in on it, because it's kind of difficult to convince people to allow something bad to happen, like unless they're, I don't know, blackmailed or something. But yeah,
It would take a lot of blackmail. Like let's tear it down using Occam's razor,
yeah,
right? Or even Hanlon's
yeah, because
razor, right? We don't
if it's
attribute to malice what could just be
yeah.
accomplished via like just
If it's one
incompetence,
person,
right?
like if it's one person, I can believe it, right? Like you can't convince one
Yeah,
person to do a bad stuff, but like it's an entire team of Secret Service. Like we're talking
yeah.
about,
There's too many things that went wrong.
yeah, like we're talking about like what, like 20 people or more.
Probably
So
easily. I
so,
mean, think of how many people there were, right? For every 100 people, right? That's inside an area, including the attendees, the entourage for Trump and the other speakers that were there, and the general or like populace around it that would transit through, say, the park or whatnot. It should take 2 agents to be able to cover it for every 100 people. That's already a pretty horrific ratio,
yeah.
right?
So
That's like
you also,
multiply that by a couple of by a couple of hundred, and suddenly you have a security problem.
yeah, and you also need to take into account that Trump himself congratulated the Secret Service after this. Like he wasn't dissatisfied with the results.
I mean, it's an easy card to play, right? Be gracious and gregarious, and it
Yeah,
carries the positive energy that you have. So that's just PR 101.
yeah. Usually, like good leaders are really nice to their Secret Service. I mean, Stalin did that, and I think like there were other cases in history where, if you're like a dictator or you have like a lot of enemies, like it's crucial that you actually are incredibly nice with your Secret Service.
Well, they handle, would you mistreat your poison tester?
No.
If you were doing if you were playing a king in a D&D game,
Yeah, yeah.
right, and you had a close seneschal slash poison tester slash cupbearer, would you whip your cupbearer?
No.
Not a good idea. That's a great way to get a little bit of arsenic in your wine, right?
Yeah, yeah, So no, you're absolutely right. But it's this relationship that makes me difficult to believe that they would be in a plot in order to allow him to get assassinated.
Yeah.
So, right, the thing with the Secret Service, there was also the diversity initiative. Now, a lot of companies they go diverse, but I never hear a company or an institution go, okay, so because we got diverse, our product increased in performance, the price is now lower, and all of this is thanks to the diversity, right? Like we already hear it's like, oh, this is the first ever historic high in percentages with quotas and shit. But but
Yeah,
but
tell
then
me about it.
you never see the results, right? And in the case of the Secret Service, apparently like there's now more women that are in the Secret Service, and you can see
Yes, very
the
much
fact,
so.
yeah, you can see the fact that like first of all, not all men could be in Secret Service. Like I looked at some of the Secret Service guys, like those are massive gorillas, man. They can
Yeah.
hospitalize you with one punch.
Yeah, they are built different. They
Yeah,
are like usually they require peak physical conditioning. Like usually they have a minimum reaction time standard. Like they're supposed to be the best of the best.
yeah, like literally, it's like Will Smith, like best of the best of the best, you know.
Yeah.
So now there's like two ladies that are in the shot, and everyone is making fun of them on the internet because like one is fixing her glasses, the other one can't holster her gun. And the thing is, like, I'm not against the fact that there are women in the Secret Service because, like, in communist Romania, the dear leader had them, but the problem is
Hmm.
like they're not fit.
Yeah, they
Like
don't
they're
look. I'm gonna just put it this way. Say okay, so hypothetical situation. President Trump has a Secret Service entourage, including the said women that are still there, right? The ones that we already saw on this video. He gets wounded. And let's say the one that's in the primary picture where Trump's got his arm up, right? The blonde one and
yeah,
with the hair pulled back, right? Do you think she would be able to fireman carry Trump's body if he got wounded to the
no,
next checkpoint?
no, and
That okay,
especially
well,
and
the
especially
the
when you
prime
realize that a human being who's unconscious is insanely heavy.
yeah, dead
Like
weight is a real deal. That's why you can use it to do that protest anti-arrest shit, right?
yeah.
But that's a problem, right? Like if you can't perform the primary task of your duties, which would be to serve and protect and to rescue the president, should they be in any way like wounded or in any danger, that makes you it shoves a big part of what you're supposed to be doing as a Secret Service agent on every other person who's around.
Well, to be fair, you know, like when there's gunshots and all the Secret Service like pile up on the president. I think
Yeah.
if you have like a massive corporeal manifestation, it's more effective at that tactic.
I guess it depends on the caliber of the bullet.
But
But
like,
like,
and by the way, like imagine you're the actual president, and you have like the Secret Service, which is like the size of 5 Europeans, and like she throws herself over you. I mean, can you breathe at that point?
I don't know, but the whole thing that like I'm sorry I'm stuttering on this because it just kind of pisses me off when I think about it, right? Because I think of it from a competency standpoint, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
you know my background and all of that shit. So, like, you look at the reaction of the other Secret Service agents, and then you look at the reaction of, well, I'm going to say certain others, because being being specific on this can be
yeah,
a little bit
I
problematic.
understand. I understand.
There is a visible difference in what they call acumen, right? The focus on the given task. A person who looks panicked is normal, right? That's normal. Anyone like us, you and I, we get shot at. I mean, I get shot at fucking paintball, I panic, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you,
no,
you take
that's
one of
reasonable,
these
yeah.
things, right? That's normal. A Secret Service agent should not be panicked. They should understand and be ready to snap to,
I
right?
mean, I mean,
Their whole thing depends on split-second decision making.
yeah, no, I get you, but like the JFK Secret Service is also panic, right? I think like no amount of training is going to make you not panic because like everything is normal, and then all of a sudden you hear fires, and you realize that okay, this is the president, and you know shit is going down. So you're going to panic a little bit. Like I don't think like there's anyone that has like the nerves of steel, no matter how much training they had.
Well,
But there's like a
how come
reason.
how come a whole bunch of other times it seems to work just fine? Not everyone has it for sure, right?
Yeah.
But count the amount of times like take a look back at the Reagan tapes, right?
Mm.
When Reagan got shot at. It didn't take them long at all, right? Like it is possible to get yourself into a, I guess you could say, an alpha brain state to get ready to snap to at any time. Cat like reflexes and all that shit.
Yeah, I guess guess like this is the difference between people who are good at it and people who are not as good at it. Like I mean, in Japan, right, when Abe got shot, like the Secret Service panicked.
Yep.
So
Yeah, very much so. But I mean, that's a lot more cultural, right? You take a look at like anytime, like say, another knife wielding related kind of thing happens in a public street, the shock and awe of it is going to keep people away because that kind of thing is very, very rare and almost unthinkable.
yeah,
Right? That's more of a
yeah.
cultural thing on their side.
I guess like in America, you're supposed to be used with guns. Yeah. The mail is back on stream. Don't treat my e-girl badly, mail. Rating Tanner. Who's the girl and who's the male?
What?
I don't know. Is what he posted. Right. So like, do you think this affects Trump in the ratings? Do you think his approval rates are going to go up?
I mean, First of all, he's going to get just classically for like take a look at the like mathematically speaking, the amount of people who got shot at during their presidential run and how many people of those like won their election.
I mean, Bolsonaro got stabbed, right? So he won.
Yes, it's pretty fucking high. But second of all, a big part of the entire electorate cycle is about how much and the weight of a person getting talked about in media. So Trump is going to get a boost in his ratings, and he's going to get a big boost in just the general news cycle.
Do you think like this is how Americans operate? It's like you take a bullet to get my vote.
Well, I mean, it's gonna polarize, regardless of what the event is. It's big enough, and it's gonna be talked about enough inside American media that it's gonna polarize people, and that's really what defines how many people are going to get activated into wanting to vote if they weren't otherwise decided.
I think like this is not just in the media, but it's like water cooler conversation. Like there's no fucking way like people are going to talk about this in real life where the Discord Johnny cannot ban you or moderate your speech or anything like that, right?
Yeah, only a strict discussion from HR can prevent you.
Yeah. No, like I was actually thinking about this, you know, like for the last couple of years, and this is like since Trump got elected, right? Like when Trump got elected through meme magic, as we discussed, a lot of the people that are part of the establishment and they didn't get promotions or they got fired because like not the right person won, they got really upset about it, and they realized it's like, okay, we can't allow the internet to keep memeing. Like we cannot allow people to keep talking unsupervised. And this is when the crackdown started, because like before Trump, you could pretty much say whatever the fuck you wanted on the internet. But like after Trump, not only do they ban slurs, but they ban like stuff like, okay, you can't talk about sexual abuse, you can't talk about rape because you get like demoted from the algorithm. Not just on YouTube, but like on all social media, right?
Well, I can relate because there was a very, very visible change in how moderation worked on Reddit, for an example, before and during the Donald, and then when the Donald got banned and all of those I would say splinter group subreddits kind of started popping open. There was a series of changes that were put into play that were really iron-fisted. You're like, holy shit, dude. This is just kind of crazy how the lengths they're willing to go.
Yeah, I mean, on Reddit, there are now subreddits which basically say, we're atheism subreddit. Perfect example, right? Like, we're atheism here. You can shit on Christianity, you can shit on everything, but you can't shit on Islam, right? Like, the moment you say anything negative on Islam, you get banned. Many such cases. Reddit about transgender issues, right? Like, if you're a trans person that had the op and now you regret it, you can't post there because you get banned. So it's not like they're
holy shit, that's a real truth, man.
Yeah.
I'm actually dealing with a friend of a friend who is going through exactly this, and the support is abysmal.
Yeah. So it's
holy
not like
shit.
It's not like they lock down on just like slurs and bad words. It's not like they lock down on entire political concepts. Like they're basically they're not directly telling you, but like you kind of know what you're not allowed to talk about, right? Like you're being gatekept, basically.
Dialogue control.
Yeah, and like a lot of the authoritarians that are part of the cultural establishment, they have like this insanely good PR. It's like to the point where if you have like a right winger debating a leftist, like the leftist is already assumed to be the decent person in the room, just automatically. Like if you look at BBC or you look at CNN or you look at other places, right?
Yeah, morality bias.
Yeah, the morality bias, exactly. And they had this for like the last 8 years or so. And it's to the point where they go on TV and they go like, "Oh my God, he said the word bloodbath. He said bloodbath. Dangerous, dangerous, right?" And now, like after this is happening, people are looking at what the media was saying, and it's like, "Oh, Joe Biden, 2 days ago, said it's time to put a bullseye on Trump." Well, that's fucking bad optics, isn't it, Joe? That's not a good timing to say something like that. You know, like is that any good?
Yeah, like, that dog whistle word or what?
Yeah,
right?
you got Nancy Pelosi saying like Trump is dangerous for our democracy and he needs to be taken out. They're like, well, Nancy, chotomate.
Well, what's her face that had a
Kathy Griffin.
Trump
Kathy
effigy
Griffin.
head?
I don't even
Yeah,
need to
Griffin.
allow you to finish the conversation. I already know what you're talking about, right?
Man, what a nut job that was.
So, like, a lot of people are noticing this shit. It's like, hold on a little bit. Like, these people don't really have the moral high ground, right? Because
No.
now the water cooler conversations are happening. And it's like, well, I mean, they're not really nice people, are they, right? Because like, if you go by their arguments, and their arguments was that I, as a content creator on YouTube, like, I have a responsibility for the shit I say. Because if I criticize Alisa Mercante, the Kotaku journalist, right? And then someone from my chat goes and shit talks to her. You know, you have Skullfuck47 going to her and fling some insults. I'm responsible, allegedly, right? Like, it was my responsibility not to criticize her. But then you see the media, just like for the last 4 years, just like driving the rhetoric to a frenzy. Oh, he's worse than Hitler. It's like, even worse. No, he's like Hitler. No, he's even worse. And it's like, well, when you have that going on for 4 years, and you're the same people that believe that metaphors should be taken literally. Like, if someone says bloodbath, that's an incitement to violence. If he says fight, that's an incitement to violence. But what the fuck were you doing then? How can you justify?
I mean, for me, I'm old enough that this has just been the same cycle, right? I've seen this cycle play out since 9/11. That's when I was old enough to start caring about politics. But like, it's so naked now, right? Like, you start getting to the point where we already like there's entire people who are designed to try to train politicians to not use certain words, right? They already try to PC their talk through a filter, and yet these little slips keep somehow happening.
Yeah, like I remember 9/11. My fucking god, it was the Patriot Act, right? Like, if you're against the war, then you're anti-American. If you got nothing to hide, you got nothing to fear, and all that shit.
Yep.
Yeah, like the public was wild, man. Like, if you didn't go along, it's like with whatever the government wanted, which was pretty much like to invade your privacy and be able to operate things like Guantanamo Bay and shit. If you were against that, then you were considered another, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah, you're not a patriot, yeah.
Scary shit. But anyway.
And by the way, like all the ridiculous shit with the airports started happening. Like for instance,
that's right.
This is something that I find absolutely mindfuck. If
airports before 9/11 were very, very different experience.
Yeah, no, like here's one thing that I don't understand. Like, maybe you can explain it to me, right? If I go to an airport, I'm not allowed to carry any sort of bottles with me. In fact, like I was going to the UK. And I was meeting a friend of mine, Sargon of Akkad, and he really likes history. So I found like this little tiny sword. It was like a keychain type of thing. It wasn't like sharp or anything. It was just like a replica.
And, but they confiscated that shit.
Yeah, they confiscated. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever, you know, because apparently it was bigger than some centimeters. And then I go past security, and I'm into the airport, right? Do you know what I can buy? I can buy bottles of wine. So let me get this straight, right? Like, you don't let me have like a little toy replica sword because it's dangerous. But I can get a fucking bottle of wine inside the plane, and you don't think that can be like how does that work?
You can get, like, in some of those boutiques, you can get like Swiss Army knives.
Can you?
Yeah.
But no, like
I have gone through security in trips going between Canada and US, right? Had my Leatherman inside my like check-in bag and I forgot it, so they confiscate it. They won't hold it for you, so they confiscate that shit. and then I pass security, and on my way to my gate, there's a Best Buy automated, like one of those swipe your credit card and the little arm grabs the stupid thing from the thing, right? There's an entire toolkit there,
How does
which
that make any
includes
sense?
like, yeah, and it's like, okay, well, I mean, I was going to use it at the client side anyway, so I just bought it there and then boarded the plane with the entire fucking toolkit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that makes no fucking sense. And again, like a bottle of wine, if you break that bottle of wine, you got a weapon, and they allow you. So you can't like take a little replica sword, which is like which is like 4
yeah,
3
a little
inches.
keychain trinket.
Yeah, you can't get that because it's dangerous. But you can get a bottle of wine, which you can break. Like, how does that make any sense?
I don't know, man. It really doesn't.
Or you can get what was it, like perfume bottles and shit. It's like,
Yep.
yeah, whatever. It makes absolutely no sense. And all of this started with 9/11.
Yes. Before then, you could go on to like planes with your entire sandwiches and your drinks and a fucking potluck if you really wanted.
You could smoke cigars in the plane.
Yes, you could. They had a smoking section and a non-smoking section.
Yeah.
With no door.
Says water coolers have now been banned to protect our democracy. Any business that has them will get a negative ESG score.
Oh, but what if the water cooler has a rainbow like painted on it?
No, I think the problem is like people can talk to each other without supervision. So I think like what you need.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
okay.
what you need is a microphone connected to an AI that listens into what people talk at the water cooler.
Yeah, because when I was doing a lot of the early reporting about that whole, I would say, workplace PC shit, that was an alarming thing. Like things would be allowed as long as they had a rainbow attached to it. Shit that was not allowed, if it wasn't aligned with that subject matter, would be considered, out of place. But you slap a rainbow sticker on it, and suddenly it's perfectly fine.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of replica swords, like this actually happened last week. In the UK, I want you to imagine like this. When I tell you this, it sounds like a story, but realize that it's an actual man that went through this, right? So in the UK, in London, there's this guy, and he's got like this replica Zelda sword, and it's like a little sword that's like a fidget spinner, right? Like, and he's like spinning it on his finger.
This.
Yeah. Apparently, it's illegal, right? Because like London is like a prison, I guess. Like you can't have a shank with you. Like they frisk you, and if they find the shank, they put you in the special detention. What is it called? In the shoe.
It's not like any of the sides of the blades were laminated or anything like that. Like it's just a goddamn trinket.
Yeah, it was a trinket. He's now 6 months in prison. Like I want you to understand. Like your dad goes out, and you find out that he's now a convicted criminal being locked in prison with some of the worst scum of society. I mean, the social contagion is there, right? I don't know if he can keep his job after this. Like, his life is probably ruined, right? Like, his neighbors know he's in prison. He's got on national news.
If he had any job in an office or a position of trust, no, he's gonna have more than a misdemeanor. If he went to a county jail, right? It's not gonna be just a basic civil misdemeanor. He went to jail. He could have gotten a fine. He went to jail.
Yeah, literally, right? What type of police officer does that though? Like, are they not human? Like
I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's like that other woman that freaked out on the kid because she said that she reminded her of her lesbian aunt or whatever. And
I get that. Yeah, I remember that. Jesus Christ. But like the thing here in Eastern Europe, and this is a little bit different than the Anglosphere, because like we actually learned this in law school. In the Anglosphere, it's all about the letter of the law, right? Like if the law says this, then that's what you need to apply. In Eastern Europe, it's more about the spirit of the law. It's like, why was the law passed? Like, what was the legislator?
Rule as intended rather than rule as written.
Like, what was the legislator trying to accomplish when he wrote this? And if you're a police officer and you see a guy with that, you give him a warning. You tell him, like, okay, look, if you put it away, like, we'll just give you a fine or we'll pretend that it didn't happen. Like, I understand, but, like, you're not allowed to do blah, blah, blah. But like 6 months.
Yeah, it's like, they slap you across the head, take a couple of $100, smarten the fuck up, and go home.
Yeah. But like 6 months in prison for that, Jesus fucking Christ, man.
I don't even understand. Like, what in the hell could he have done to earn 6 months in the system?
Well, apparently, there was another guy that got arrested for having a potato peeler on him. So That's
Absolutely fucking
yeah,
Balderdash.
that's
Holy
how
shit.
London is, and I keep saying it's like a prison, man. It's like a fucking prison. Like they carry if you have a shank on you, if they think you have a shank, you get arrested.
And that's wild. I mean, I know that knife crime in the UK is absolutely stupid high, but
Well, yeah, because they confiscated the guns. So.
I mean, to take away a toy trinket on a keychain,
Yeah.
that's, I don't know, man. Sometimes it's almost like the blue line does it very often for the power, not for the actual protection.
Oh, I mean, London is fucked, man. Like
Yeah, no kidding.
It's not a place to live. The prices are skyrocketing. Unless you're like wealthy and you live like in the expensive part of London or you're just tourisming, it's not a place to live. It's unsustainable, as the left likes
I've
to say.
been there. I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Rating terror. I'm the e-girl, obviously. I see.
Oh, V the e-girl. Oh.
Yeah. Oh,
E-girl.
short fat otaku has lost the plot. Yeah. What was his take? Oh yeah, we should have blamed the left for what happened. Right. So like.
Wait, what? Who?
Short fat otaku, Dev. Right, another Canadian.
Dev. Oh
Yes.
shit. Yeah.
He's like, we shouldn't blame the left for what happened. And I'm like, all right, let's assume for a second that it was the opposite. Like a high-profile left-leaning politicians just got through a failed assassination attempt. What would the media do? Right? Like, what would the media do? Well, let's see. Like, what would they say on The View? What would Whoopi Goldberg say? Right? What would the censorship that would descend on social media be like? What would like all of
the information cycle would be loud and fast.
Yeah, loud and fast. Everyone that even criticized the politician would now be suspicious. If you were like a right winger, you'd have an army of microphones, and they would be like, "But do you disavow? Do you disavow?" And you'd be like, "Yes, I disavow." But like on December the 12th, you said about this politician that he is a piece of shit. How do you recall that? You know, like that's what the media would do. That's non-stop.
Yeah,
like,
they would dig up every single bit that they could and try to do what they call the 4-question trap.
Yeah.
They get you to agree to a couple of things, and then after that try to get you in a gotcha by pulling out some random fact that you may or may not have forgotten.
Yeah, like if let's say it happened to AOC, right, and she survives, and literally they would go the next day to someone like Ted Cruz with an army of microphones, and would be like, but Ted Cruz, do you condemn violence in America? And you know, I hate that question because it implies that he would be for it, right? Like just the question itself.
Yeah, like did he ever actually say he wanted violence in America ever in the first place? Like at what point does condemnation have to be done? Like why reaffirm?
And he would be like, no, obviously. And then it would be like, do you think that what happened to AOC is okay? And he would be like, no. But like back then you said that AOC is a bad person. Like how do you do you not
bad
think
faith arguments, man?
Yeah.
That's cheap tactics.
Yeah,
cheap tactics.
So basically when the left behaves like that, like, yeah, I think that every single leftist now should be asked the question. It's like, but do you condemn violence? Do you think it's nice what happened to Trump? Do you agree with that? Blah, 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 blah. Like, so, yeah, like, if you're not making Dev uncomfortable on the internet, your rhetoric is not is not okay. Like you need to dial it up a little bit.
People need to be challenged on their beliefs. That's the only way that things can reasonably stay healthy.
Yeah, I generally think, like, do unto others what they would do unto you is like, my mantra now. It's like, you know, the same way that I expect other people to treat me is how I would treat them. And, yeah, I disagree with Dev's take. Destiny seems to have gone completely mental.
Well, what's Destiny saying?
Okay, I think he's rage farming. I think like he's just being a cheeky little shit on the internet with a specific purpose.
Didn't his viewership drop off a cliff after he got cucked completely out of his marriage or something shit like that?
Yeah, but like it went up after he revealed that Boogie probably doesn't have cancer.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. God damn, trying to keep that small fire alive, eh, buddy?
do you know that I was actually on a fucking stream with Boogie? Like this was after the BetterHelp stuff. Okay, I'll tell you the short story, right? So,
all right,
I'm playing Magic the Gathering with the Quartering, not Magic the Gathering. Sorry, I'm playing. I think it was Skaven, an RPG, with Arch, Quartering, and many others. And at that point, I was a fan of Boogie. I really liked him. You know, really nice guy, lovable goof, as he presented himself. And then Quartering gets a phone call. And this is happening like while we're playing. I don't think we recorded this because like we played it without audience and anything. We just wanted to enjoy ourselves.
Mhm.
And Quarry gets a phone call, and Boogie is on the other end of the line. And this happened with the Magic the Gathering pedophile judges scandal, if you guys remember it, right?
Oh shit, yeah.
So like Boogie was upset at Quarry for talking about it or something. I don't even know, but like he's absolutely screaming from the other end of the phone. Like he is literally yelling at the Quarry, you know. I'm like, what?
So he's
the
having a
fuck?
meltdown.
Yeah, and I'm like, what the fuck? This is not the Boogie I know. But it's like fine, you know, like you got like other people that are content creators and they behave one way behind the scene and another way in front. Like this is normal, right? Like when the cameras are rolling, everyone wants to show their better face and be presentable. Like okay.
Of course.
But like after that, you know, like Quartering is visibly upset because he considered Boogie as a friend and he starts sharing shit. And he basically says, you know that like Boogie was once really depressed, and he asked me if he can pay me money so I can hire assassins to go after him. And you know, like it's very rare that you get like a stun, you know, like in a video game, you're like stunned for 2 seconds, like crowd control, and you're like, what the fuck did I just heard? Like you're trying to process what has been communicated to you, you know?
That's a hell of a goddamn lump to dump into someone's lap. I mean,
Yeah,
you're sitting there trying to GM a game, and then suddenly you get like an earful of whatever that was.
yeah, and I'm like, what the fuck? You know, how does what?
Yeah,
So-
like
so-
out of nowhere.
So like my opinion of Boogie just demolishes, you know? It's just like was he trying
So
to entrap
Boogie
the
was
Quarry?
pissed off because of the pedo judges thing.
I think he was pissed off, not because of the judges, but like the way Boogie, I believe, operates his channel is like a business. Like what makes him money is good, what loses him money is bad, right? Now the Quartering, getting into the Magic of the Gathering culture war was becoming persona non grata among certain left-leaning individuals, and they were disassociating, right? And they probably expected Boogie to disassociate as well. And this is my thinking, like, this is just my opinion. It's like, him having to disassociate from Quartering was like a business decision. And he was just like trying to find...
so he was just looking for a catalyst.
Yeah, he was looking for a catalyst so that he can be like, okay, I'm out. But like, the thing that really pissed me off is like, he's yelling on the phone at the guy, right? And then in public, he's pretending like he's really good friends and he doesn't know what's going on. Like incredibly duplicitous behavior.
Oh fuck yeah!
Yeah, and then I find out that he actually asked Quartering for money in order to promote his channel. You know, like, I mean, it's not wrong, you know, like, it's a sponsorship, but like, if you're friends with someone, like, I promote channels all the fucking time. You know,
Hell
like,
yeah.
if someone asks me to, I just do it. Like, I don't ask money from other content creators, but, you know, it is what it is. But it wasn't like the image that I had about Boogie. So, anyway, I make a video, it actually goes popular, a lot of people watch. And then we're on a stream talking about BetterHelp. And BetterHelp was like at the point in time, a lot of people were going against content creators that were promoting it. They were saying that it's a scam, that it's not doing what was advertising. And I think like Boogie was one of the people that promoted it, that took the sponsorship. And he was being grilled by several people. Mr. Bedecker was one of them, many others. I think there were like 5 or 6 people there. And I go on the stream, and I start grilling Boogie as well. And I'm like, well, why do you behave like this? What the fuck is with the assassins shit, you know? And he basically calls me like, oh, V, I think you're smarter than that. I was just in a dark place. I was very sad. And, you know, people, when they're sad, they say crazy things.
Yeah, that's some crazy shit.
Yeah, like, it's a little bit crazy. But, like, then Jim and all the other people on that stream start turning against me and laughing at me. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I can't 1v5. Like, I don't have the rhetoric to 1v5. I can't even 1v1 Jim, like, let alone 1v5. So I'm like, you know, fuck it. I mean, yeah, sure. I take a step back. I'm like, I apologize. My bad. You know, I misjudged. And I haven't made a single video about Boogie since. I haven't, you know, talked shit about him for years.
Toxic topic, man.
Yeah. But now...
Especially now with the whole diagnosis drama and all of that shit, too.
Yeah, now in hindsight, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, okay, so people finally have come to my realization. You know, it was what it was. But like, a lot of people wonder, it's like, how did no one knew? It's like, well, when you go on a stream, and you're grilling a person, and everyone jumps at you because they're fanboys or whatever, you know, big YouTuber with big channel, yeah, people are not willing to look at the whole event. You know, they're not willing to look at the arguments.
No,
So
most people will make up their minds within the first 10 or so seconds without like any real evidence, and unless something major happens to make a big revelation, chances are you're not going to shake that initial opinion out of their hands.
yeah, the thing with Boogie, like the last thing that he did was that and I didn't even attack him for it because I don't think it's a big problem. Medicare thought it's a big problem, but he shills this coin, right? And he basically says, "Do not buy this coin because you're going to end up poor." And it's part of like this scam that people make where it's a pump and dump scheme, and they take like a famous person to shill the coin. People buy the coin, number goes up, and then they sell everything, and people lose money, right?
Yeah, the pump and dump.
The pump and dump, yeah. So like Boogie does it, but like he's being very open about it. It's like, don't buy it, don't blah blah blah. I think it's shitty, but like I don't think it's shitty enough to piss me off. You know, I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't do something like this. This is like really bad to do to your audience. But like he didn't tell people, hey, buy the coin and get rich, because that would have pissed me off. He's like within limits, I would say.
Yeah, he was pretty clear about it. I mean,
Yeah.
there are some clips where people are putting out that he was saying like, yeah, buy it, etc., and like and so on, and he won't sell. But at the end of the day, he was very clearly telling people don't buy it. So,
yeah, like I want people to get it. Like it's a shitty thing, but not shitty enough to piss me off. You know, like from a level of 1 to 10, it's a level of like 6 shittery on my scale. Like so that wasn't what pissed me off. What pisses me off is the fact that he lies about cancer. Like my mom died of cancer, and I think like people have a finite number of empathy. You know, like no one has infinite level of empathy. And when you have a person that's taking away that empathy for bad reasons because he doesn't actually have the issue, that's what pisses me off. Now, in the case of Boogie, right, like he goes on a stream and people are like, okay, well, if you have cancer, like prove it. And he's like, oh no, I don't want to share my private information.
man, they also provided a almost perfect opportunity on top of that. And Boogie is from what country? USA or Canada?
Yeah, USA,
or
I think. Yeah, I think
USA. So depending on what state that he's in, first of all, if he's doing any sort of Bitcoin transaction, his personal information is probably already exposed to begin with. He was doing it he was whining and dining about the whole 10K he needed it so bad because of his medical bills. Guy gets offered what, $80,000 or something like that.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
and
yeah.
not even to show anything HIPAA, right?
Yeah.
Like at one point, the guy, like one of the guys, I don't know all of them by heart. Sorry, I don't know all their names by heart and shit. But one of the guys actually goes like, just show us like you would have a package of a medication for your
That's Medicare.
chemotherapy.
Yeah, I think it was Medicare that did that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like just show us the package of the fucking thing. Just a blister pack from it is sufficient. That's not HIPAA protected. It's not your personal information.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't be able to get chemotherapy medication or the stuff that they give people who are recovering. Yeah, because that's just way deep over the counter. It's protected substance or a controlled substance. Sorry.
And he basically says, "Oh well, why would I reveal my information? Well, for the last 2 years you did reveal your information. He made an entire documentary about his personal life.
It doesn't make any sense, man.
Like,
So it's
like,
the whole bullshit meter spikes pretty goddamn hard.
yeah,
like
the thing is, like when you ask people to donate and to give a shit, when people start giving a shit, they want to follow up. Like they want to know, like what happened, right? Like did the
they want to
little
make
girl
sure their
make it?
shit is going to a good cause. Because look how many goddamn scammers there have been in the past.
Yeah, it's not even that, but it's like, oh, did the little girl with the matches, did she manage to buy the fucking blanket or not? Like, I gave her money. Where's the money? Does she have a blanket? Bitch better have a blanket. I gave her $1. You know, like, that's how people think.
Raining Terror's got a good point here. I'm going to read out his super chat. No V, because him scamming his audience was even worse, because he could have just opened up a GoFundMe. And he, you know what? Raining Terror is damn right. That guy, Boogie, had a good enough and big enough audience that if he put out a GoFundMe, chances are he would have accomplished it. That 10K that he stole from people would have been a drop in the fucking bucket.
No, I am saying that what he did is shitty. But what I'm still saying is that it's not shitty enough. Like, you need to understand, I live on the fucking internet. I see shitty things, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, my level of shittery is very difficult to reach. Because I'm comparing it with other people that did shitty things. And I'm like, okay, like is this, like, average shitty or is this, like, super shitty? Because, like,
super shitty.
There have been other content creators that did more shitty things, is what I'm trying to say, right? Like for instance...
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Doxing your donors, right? Like, that is a super shitty thing to do. American Outlier Yeah, no, because like I want to put it into perspective with what else I'm comparing it. You know, like what other things other people have done. And then I'm looking at it from that point of view. You know,
Yeah.
American Outlier, High Vianors, hope all is well. Dodging bullets like I'm in the Matrix, but seriously, what dumbass thought would live after any failed or successful Minecrafting? Remember, dead man tell no tales. Well, this is actually interesting because there's an article from Forbes magazine just now. I will read the title, and I want you to not laugh, okay? Can you do that for me?
No promises.
All right. Well, this is an actual article, Forbes. Will surviving gunfire be Donald Trump's next appeal to black voters?
What in the what a headline is that?
Listen. Written by Sean Harper, contributor. I am a diversity, equity, and inclusion DEI expert.
An expert.
An expert, yeah. Hold on, there is no fucking way. Like, hold on, I need to double check this.
Look, man, I'm just gonna put it this way. I do a lot of HR consulting. I have never seen DEI expert on a skill list ever.
Well, they're probably embarrassed, right? Oh no, shit, it's real. Okay, this is 14 hours
You
ago.
gotta be kidding.
Hold on, did they take the page down? Okay, this is weird. Hold on, let me show you, right? So.
Oh, did they stealth pull it or what?
I think so. Like look at that, right? It's
No
on the front
shit.
page of Bing, right? But when you click on it, it's a broken link.
Yeah. So Cache hasn't updated since they changed the link in the background.
So they deleted the article, right?
Yeah.
They realized,
they either renamed the organic link in the background or they changed the title because you see how the title is part of the URL.
Yeah.
Anyway,
They probably realized it's not a good look.
Nope.
Who comes up with that shit, man? Like if you pay me money to write something so ridiculous, I wouldn't be able to compete.
Do you want to know who gets paid to do that? People who
Yes.
are there to pay by the word rather than paying by the hit of their by the reach of their article.
Then you wouldn't
Right?
be able to come up with that shit, and you're a fucking writer. Shut the fuck up. Like, there is no way you would look at this event and even think like, okay, will he be popular with black voters because he got shot at?
No, but it's the whole Kotaku approach, right? Because most written media now, because like think of it, right? It's what Forbes. What was it?
Yes,
Forbes
yeah,
that
it was
that
Forbes,
was.
yeah.
They adopted the same cycle that Kotaku did, where they basically say now you guys got to pay by like you have to write so many articles, so many words, etc. Like a lot of these writers now aren't official or like long-time hires for Forbes or any of these media publications. They're fly-by-night contributors that will just write whatever
I'm
the
not
fuck.
upset that they're writing.
right?
Like, no, it's not the
No,
fact
it's
that
just
they're writing.
they'll write any stupid shit to
Yeah,
fill the word
it's
count.
not that it's stupid shit. It's that it's something so monumentally stupid that it actually requires intelligence to come up with it. Like, look, you need to understand.
You have to make the question exist. You have to pretend like this is an actual thing people ask.
Yeah. Like, the thing is, like, in order to be stupid, it doesn't take brain power. It's the opposite, right? But when you become like monumentally stupid, when it's like a level of stupidity that's underlying what normal people are capable of, then you actually need to be smart in order to write something so fucking dumb.
Yeah, you have to be unusually smart to be extra dumb.
Yeah, like probably get a university education or some shit.
Certification and stupid.
Yeah, V. The problem is you're bankrupting whoever bought into it. Sure, they're dumb, but they're donating because they think it would help them out. Dude, like if the content creator is fucking telling you in your face, do not buy this because it's going to make you broke, and you buy it anyway, like the disclaimer was fucking there. I'm sorry. Now I know that Boogie knew it's a joke, and I know he knew that people would buy it, and I agree with you that he should have started a GoFundMe. But this is not as bad as if he would have said, buy the coin, it will make you rich, right? Like there is
it's you cannot go to the beach, build a sandcastle, and when the lifeguard says, "Hey, tide's coming in," you can't cry at the ocean when the tide comes in and wipes out your sandcastle. That's just the tide coming in.
Yeah. Like again,
I mean,
I need people
it's
to
crypto.
understand. I do think, I do think what he did is bad. I would never do it. I'm not friends with anyone that would do it.
Yeah,
But I don't think it's shitty
it's
enough.
shady shit. Yeah, it's shady shit, but you can't it was warned.
It's not shitty enough to piss me off. Like I'm a calm person. I'm sorry, but like you need to do something monumentally shitty to piss me off, and this just doesn't cut it. Like it's still under the sea level. It's pretty high up, but it's not like not over there.
Lying about cancer, lying about cancer.
That is very shitty.
That's high.
That
that's
pisses
high
me
on the
off.
list. But
yeah, that is definitely high. Yeah.
Pump and dump of a crypto shitcoin, kind of, it's not like he was going around touting it as the next Doge or whatever.
How much would people buy for that? Jesus fucking Christ! Like how like people getting bankrupt over it. It's like so how much did you invest? Jesus.
I don't know. He only got 10K out of it, so what was the market movement on it? Couldn't be more than 100K. So people went bankrupt on it.
You don't understand, right? Like the scam doesn't work that way, right? Like you got the people that organize the scheme, and they're the ones making money, right? Like they paid the celebrity, they paid the e-celeb 10K to advertise the coin.
Oh, so he got paid for the advertise. That's not what he made with the coin?
No. Like
I had completely assumed that shit.
No. Like apparently the coin made millions, and he was absolutely livid when he found out because like he didn't get that money, right?
No fucking kidding.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
But it's basically like I would be paying you, hey, or shill this coin, and I give you 10K, right? And you're like, fine, I'll take it. And you make a shill where you're like, don't buy the coin.
Yeah.
Right?
And then you flip 1.5 billion, and it's like, man, I only got 10K.
Yeah.
Like you gave me a penny. Like, oh shit. Now that's a little bit shadier though. Fuck.
Bookie was being sarcastic. He was heavily implying that you should buy it. He even himself later said, yeah, it's shitty. I do agree it's shitty. But like, not that shitty. I don't know. Like okay, if I find that shitty, alright, and it upsets me, how should I feel when he fakes about cancer? Like, I only have, like, so many degrees of upset. You know? Like, at one point, I'm incapable of being more upset. Like, you reach a max. And I think, like, I need to leave room for the other shitty things that he did.
Yeah, for me, the fact that it was crypto blunts the nastiness of it a little bit because it's crypto. If you're dealing with crypto and, like, he doesn't have a direct stake inside of it immediately, then automatically a person should be suspicious, right?
Well, I'll tell you about the difference in content creators, right? And this is like the unspoken rule. There are two types of content creators, and it's usually by size as well, but not necessarily. There are content creators that actually love their subscribers because we realize that without you guys, we wouldn't be here. I know it sounds like false words, but it's true. But then there are content creators that look at you guys as a statistic, like you're just. Words on the screen. You're just like a number.
Your engagement percentage. Yep.
Yeah, they don't even look at their DMs. They don't even check their Patreon and shit. Like when I hear a content creator that has like, I don't know, like 500,000 subs and they don't check their email, they don't check their DM, and they come with the bullshit that they don't have time, that's false. Okay, they're lying to you. Like you do not get that many emails. Like you can't go through them. So that's how you know if the content creator treats you as a statistic or an actual person. If they respond to your private messages.
Yes.
That's like the very basic thing they can do. So yeah, like what Boogie did is bad because he scammed his own audience. But it's not my audience, so I don't give a fuck. Like I need people to understand that. Like it's not my audience. I have faith that if I was to start the crypto, you guys wouldn't be that dumb enough in order to buy it. Which is why I don't even start it, because I know it would be a failure since day one. Dev has been gone for a while. He will roll downhill, says the chat. I don't know. I guess.
Downhill, huh?
I'm not even engaging with him politically anymore. Like, I just know whatever I think. Like, I just look at Destiny's videos and I know what he's going to say, so.
Yeah, the last videos I saw of his were just about as predictable as Pikers, so.
Alright, let's see what else we got, because besides Trump, there have been actually some things that happened this week. And I fucking hate you for just constantly starting new threads. Just
I made a thread for each week, dude.
Why, though? It's just the two of us. Like, chat, I got a Discord where I sit with Ors and we share the articles during the week, and it's like, we're going to talk about this, right? And he autistically just makes another trend. It's like June the 13th, July the 14th. It's like, just leave it, because I know where the week ended. I remember what I talked about last weekend.
Why? God. Trying to be organized here.
I'll talk about Elon Musk to piss you off. Okay, so Elon Musk is
All right, Elon Musk.
is getting into hot waters with European Council.
Oh yeah, the whole regulation
Yeah.
that they're trying to dodge. Yeah.
So like the thing with the EU Council, they don't have a constitution that guarantees civil liberties. Like they do not have the concept of free speech, free expression, all that shit that American has in their constitution. So basically, Romania in the constitution, we have free speech. But the European Union can say, no, actually, you need to ban Twitter. And if they were to pass that regulation, I generally don't know what would happen. Because on one hand, you have like the Romanian constitution that says you can't, and then you have like the the law that from the EU says you should. This happened with Poland, with other things. Their constitution was in conflict with the EU, and there were like, who has priority.
Yeah, liberty override.
Yeah, like normally I think the state has priority because the EU is not a federal state, right? Like, it was economicalized that happened. And
well,
over time,
that's the classic. That's the classic because people look at it from the states' perspective and the like. I guess you could say the Commonwealth perspective, where the actual individual provinces can have the say over the federal mandate. And the same thing is true for pretty much most of the U.S. states.
Yeah,
but
like,
it's not always that way. Yeah.
Sure, but like when the EU happened, like there was no conversation. It's like, okay, you joined the EU and you give away your state sovereignty.
Yeah, there was no explicit definition that they would give up their sovereignty. Yeah.
In fact, people that said that were considered crazy conspiracy theorists. Like there are many authors that were saying that the EU is trying to become a super state, and they were like, no, nonsense. It's an economic alliance. What the fuck are you smoking?
It's always crazy talk at the start.
Yeah.
It's really about where the needle slips to after it's been established.
So anyway, now the EU is basically saying, like, no, if you have a social media website, you need to make sure there's no misinformation and other horseshit, which falls under free speech, which the Romanian constitution guarantees. And they're, like, going after social media for stuff that is legal in most countries, except for, like, a couple like Germany. So, for instance, when you had the terrorist attack in Israel, right, a lot of the terrorists were filming it with their GoPro cameras, and they were uploading the raw footage on social media. And it was very graphic, very vile. But I think it's good for people to see that because they understand the conflict and they know just how bad terrorism is. Like, unless you see the raw
impact.
Yeah, unless you see the raw footage, you actually do not understand just how fucked up it is. I mean, you do understand it, but when you see it, you get a better understanding, right?
Yeah, there's an old saying, the war is on TV, but TV is always sanitized.
Yeah.
Getting a real look as to what the actual damage is, what the actual suffering is. No weird lens, no pre-setup, just raw, straight-up footage can't be directly fake. Sure, if you go friggin' long enough and you get conspiracy theory enough, you can make some shit up. But
yeah, but like the EU actually did that with the dead kid on the shores of Greece, right? Like they paraded that picture in almost every single publication they could. So it's not like they're against showing shocking images. But for some reason, they really hated that Elon Musk was allowing those images to exist on Twitter, even though they weren't illegal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so they're basically
polarizing
saying,
media is dangerous, especially in it was a real hot coal bed, right? EU's been really, really waiting for a moment to kind of catch on fire, and those images were really doing a good job at heating shit up pretty quick.
Oh, another one that's even a better example was the recent terrorist attack in Germany, right? Where the far right, which had the irrational fear of Islam, gets attacked by a member of the religion with a knife. Mm-hmm. And the police officer, well, at least that's how it looked on camera. I understand it was different, like he didn't have time to assess the situation or something. The police officer tackles the far right individual to the ground, who had immobilized the terrorist. But the terrorist, now escapes because the guy was tackled and stabs the police officer, right?
Yeah, catches him twice in the back of the head.
Yeah.
And let's even rewind just a couple of months earlier, where all of the protests that they were having in Ireland.
Yeah. And the EU didn't like that. Like, they requested that video be removed from Twitter, right? So even if you're an American and you're not part of the EU, you can't see that anymore because Twitter had to remove it at the behest of the EU. I generally don't like that shit, but whatever. My point is that they're basically saying that they should have a right to dictate what social media does, right? So like any American company, anywhere, they can say, we don't like this video, we don't like this American saying these things, take it down. And Elon Musk is saying that he was actually offered the deal, like this is allegedly, right? And I think it may be true because like the EU has lawyers, so they can sue him if it's not true. But he's saying like he was offered the deal behind closed doors so that he won't get fined if he has misinformation or if he has this type of sensitive content on his platform. He won't get fined if he allows the EU to censor stuff in a stealthy way. So like the exact same thing that the Brazilian, yeah, like the Brazilian judge asked Twitter as well. If you remember, there's a Supreme Court judge in the Brazilian court. And he also has the same thing. Like, he went like, no, I want you to censor these people, but don't say it's from me. Like act as if they violated Twitter's TOS. So
yeah, find a reason.
Yeah, like if you're a journalist that was talking against the regime, if you're a politician or anyone like that, you need to censor them, but don't say it's coming from the political arm, the judicial arm of the government. Yeah. And this is what the EU... Control. Yeah, and this is what the EU wanted. They wanted to have a team. This is what Elon Musk is saying, right? Is saying that they wanted to have a team which would be able to say, all right, we don't like this journalist, we don't like this person. And he would have to censor them, but not on the behest of the EU, but, you know, you just violated Twitter's TOS and you're banned.
Well, there's a game on Steam that simulates this where you have like a TV channel / you're in control of the material that's going through a 7-second buffer, right?
Yeah.
And there's even a part of the game where it says like we can't explicitly censor this part, but if you can find reasons to nudge it off, right? Like try to lean into your allowed errors as many times as you can.
It's so shitty. But it's like so fucking shitty. At least Nazi Germany was honest with its censorship, man. You know, like at least they were. And same with fascist Italy and Soviet Union. Like they would at least tell you, yeah, you fucked up. Even China is honest about its censorship. I really hate
China straight in your face. You try to access something through their red wall, and they tell you no.
Yeah,
it's just straight up in your face.
Yeah, but like the EU and Brazil is like so basically Elon Musk is saying that he's going to go to court with them over this. The discovery may be very interesting.
Yeah, it will be. I mean, it's not going to be a big discovery overall because it really depends on what they were using to communicate. I think it's probably going to get just quickly hand waved off to the side as just a matter of doing business, and we'll probably not hear about it again.
Yeah, well, I am genuinely curious what would happen if the EU actually wants to ban Twitter. Because, like, legally they can. But, as I mentioned, a lot of member states have in their constitution the concept of free speech. So, like, forcing the Romanian government to ban a website. I don't even know if we ban websites, actually. I think maybe Russia Today... Like, hold on. Let me see if I can access it. I think Russia Today may be banned, but it's not banned because, like, the Romanian government wants it banned. I think it's banned because Google wants it banned.
Well, I mean, Google can't ban something unless you're using their own DNS like servers, right? And if you want to get around Google's ban, you can just inject your own DNS server into your settings and all of that shit. I can show you how to do that offline.
No. I'm just curious if it's banned for the public or not, because like obviously you can.
RT?
Yeah. I'm trying to see if I can.
RT is working here, so it's not banned where I live.
I think it's banned where I live, but like I don't know the actual address. Can you give it to me?
Men in chat is saying that EU did indeed restrict access to RT. So
yeah, I want to see if I can access it. I'm just curious.
Yeah, go for it.
But like, do you have the address?
Don't get yourself put on a list there.
Oh my fucking god! Oh, I accessed it. Can you give me an address of it?
Yeah, sure.
Because I don't know I don't use it, so I genuinely don't know the URL for it.
www.rt.com.
Oh, that okay. Fuck. My connection isn't private. Attackers by blah blah blah. Okay, so I got.
Okay, well, automatically if that happened, that's you're in redirect because that error doesn't appear. So if you're receiving that, you have what they call an MIM, man in middle, who is saying that the certificate is not good.
So they really don't let me use it.
I'd say be careful.
For what?
If your browser is telling you that there could be a man in middle, leave unless you know what you're doing, because you don't know what you could be signing on when you go into the website. The policy certificate that you will have to accept could have all sorts of shit in it you don't know about.
Yeah, but like it's not
If,
illegal for me to access the website.
no, it's not illegal. It's not illegal. You just don't know what it could be doing,
Oh,
right? It's an unknown
I,
certificate,
I think it's a scary thing to get people to fuck off.
possibly.
I don't like I have access the website before the war, right? Like before the war, it was on Google search. Like you got a lot of news from it. But after the war, I think like you can't access it. Yeah. Now,
I don't want to get into the nerdy shit, but there's a lot of freaky shit that can happen when a zone blocks a website where it's not necessarily blocked in other areas.
Yeah. So basically, theoretically, I mean, they can do this to Twitter, I guess, right?
Absolutely, yes. Twitter uses a very specific strip of IPs, country by country, and it is indeed a targetable service.
Anyway, Ors has to go. He's going to play D&D.
Yes, indeed I am.
Why don't you stream it?
I asked my friends, and not all of them are comfortable with that streaming.
Oh my god! Oh, they're shy. They're camera
No,
shy.
we cover controversial subject matter that can probably get us canceled sometimes. So hey.
Oh goodness gracious! Anything but controversial matter. Anyway, I'll leave it. Jesus, I didn't know you're so controversial.
Hey,
I should
man.
look into it. Like maybe I don't want you on my
Controversial,
stream
man.
anymore. Holy shit! Like are you saying stuff that are you saying gamer words? Are you? Jesus.
Well, no, but in one of the games where we were playing, we are dealing with slavery as a very
Oh my
complicated
goodness!
subject matter,
do you know,
and that can be sensitive.
Oh.
I have to put up. We have issues with trigger warnings, right?
Goodness gracious! Do you know that I played Vampire the Masquerade and we were Nazi
BTM,
vampires?
man, that's some...
No, listen. We were Nazi vampires invading the Soviet Union during Operation Barbarossa. So please don't tell me.
fucking wild.
Yeah, don't tell me about.
Were you playing Adventure? What were you playing? Malkav?
Yeah, Malcolm, the crazy ones, right? So
Yes, sir.
the cool shit was at the Night of the Long Knives, and I was like asking Arch, like Arch, where is Hitler? Where's the Führer? And he didn't want to use the Führer because then, like, that was the line. That was like the line. It's like no. Like, well, come on,
The line that makes or breaks the game, right?
Yeah, that was, I think, like, Dev was playing as a vampire lolly. Like, that was fine, right? But, like, the Führer, that was too much.
Good God.
And yeah,
all right. I gotta call it and head out, though, man.
Take it.
All right. You take care, man.
Yeah, so, thank you, chat, for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Sorry if This Week is Stupid was only about Trump, mostly, but it was a major event. So, I'll catch you next week with hopefully more news to talk about.